the Santa Monica Pier, where Route 66 officially ends. It was for me, however, the beginning. This story that I'll be telling you is really a story of the good, the bad, and the ugly on Route 66. A little Clint Eastwood reference there that some of you may recognize. The good really were the sights and sounds along the way. The bad were some things that I will show you that you may or may not agree are bad, and the ugly will be bloopers, those oops things that happen that really are one of the things that make a trip interesting. You'd think the pier would have been easy to find since it's on the edge of the ocean, but it was not. And the start of Route 66. There's the Pacific Ocean looking west. This is awesome. Not many people on the beach today. It's about noon on a Tuesday. Natural spring water. I am really thirsty. So tuna melt with some spicy fries and my fancy water that I couldn't open. I had to go back and ask her to open it for me. Well, I've had a little lunch, and I've done a little sightseeing, and now it's time to get back on the road and begin for real the Route 66 at age 66 leg of my trip. I had 3 objectives on this trip. First of all, I simply wanted to go on vacation. I wanted to see all 3 of my children, one in Minnesota, one in California, and one in Florida. But on the way, wanted to do the Route 66 trip that I've heard so many people do, and they have such high words of how wonderful the Route 66 trip is. I wanted to find out for myself. My second objective in this trip was to discover whether I like solo travel by myself better than group travel. And so I went on a group outing earlier this year and now wanted to try a big solo trip just to see how to compare the two of them. The one thing about traveling solo is that you can, on the spur of the moment, make a change in your plans, which I did. I signed up for a hot air balloon ride in Southern California. So the first night, I'm staying here in Southern California so that I can get up early in the morning and go on the balloon ride. It was amazing to me how different the world looks from not very many feet above. It was also amazing to me how non-adventurous I felt in the balloon. I will link the full balloon ride in the description of this video if you want to watch that video. But the actual fact of the matter, it was almost kind of a letdown because it was so slow. Our goal tonight is to make it to Flagstaff, Arizona. Well, from getting out of California into Joshua Tree National Park and then on the road again toward Kingman, Arizona, I have to say, so far there has been very little that would be reminiscent of Route 66, or at least of the hype that I had built up in my mind of what I would see on Route 66. Nothing, no buildings, no anything much to look at other than a random sign every now and then. I'm hoping that we'll see more once we get to Kingman. Well, not a whole lot in Kingman, but it is late in the day. The visitor center was closed, and there were a few buildings that showed Route 66. Next stop, Flagstaff for the night, and I've made a decision. I think we will go and take a quick look at the Grand Canyon tomorrow, even though it's not exactly on Route 66. It'll be worth the hour and a half both directions off the trail to see it. I can't wait. This morning, I'm going to try something new. I'm not going to eat alone. Hey, I met a new friend, Judy, in Flagstaff, Arizona. She is also doing the Route 66 trip. It's so cool. Well, I said goodbye to Judy, who, by the way, was a huge fan of solo travel. She likes it better than groups, and headed for a quick look at the Grand Canyon. I can't look for long because we have to be in Amarillo before bedtime tonight. It's only 37 degrees in my car this morning when I woke up, but it has warmed up so much that I'm almost wearing too many clothes, too many layers. I have to say, I am more impressed with the Grand Canyon than I was with the balloon ride. I feel like I'm up higher and can see more. The Colorado River down there is pretty dried up, but nevertheless, what a spectacular sachet this has been. Leaving the Grand Canyon, I headed to Texas, to Amarillo, across desolate terrain that had little in the way of anything to see that spoke of Route 66. Amarillo, however, had much to offer the eager tourist. I'm at Cadillac Ranch. Cadillac Ranch, the strangest art exhibit on all of Route 66, I think. Perfect. The wind comes from all directions, doesn't it? But we'll try this. Let's see, how about maybe we could make some spokes on a wheel? Voila! But he didn't. Catalyte. So the Cadillac Ranch has just hundreds of layers of paint on, and some of it chips off. And then they bring it in as a souvenir, and some people even make jewelry out of it. And you'll be welcome here.
Got a lot of Route 66 stuff, got a lot of local stuff. And then there's my collection.
The good stuff.
Your collection of stuff.
Yeah, I had to open the store because I ran out of room at home.
I love it. Route 66 ended for me where the Amarillo leg starts, right here in Amarillo. After doing a little sightseeing in a local canyon, I got on the road to head to Florida, and from Florida back to Bemidji. A long, long, long trip. As you can see, I'm starting to look tired, but as I went, I replayed in my mind the fun things that I had done. I connected with family. I discovered that while living in your car is possible, and that was the third thing that I wanted to discover on this trip, whether or not it could be done. People do it, and they get their mail through these boxes that are set up all throughout the trip. I saw Amazon dump spots. But the reality is, I would not want to live in my car. It was a lot of miles. A lot of lonely miles traveling by yourself, and I'm not sure that the good of having control over your time outweighs the bad of going alone. Finding internet connections, for example, is a constant problem, and eating alone is not nearly as much fun as eating with a friend, even if that friend is a stranger at a table. If you ever encounter a single person at a table for 8, be sure that's an invitation to come sit down. What started out as a dream, and then plans on paper, and then a map open for many nights in a row, has become a memory that I think I will have for the rest of my life. Now that I'm home again, I feel like I've come full circle. I started in Minnesota watching a marathon and have returned to Minnesota feeling like I have driven a marathon over 7,000 miles. Thank you all for joining me on this trip. It has been a wonderful adventure, and I hope that if nothing else, I have encouraged you to believe that if you can dream it, you can do it. You are stronger than you think, perfectly able to deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly that will meet you inevitably as you work your way through life on adventures or at home. So, dear friends, I urge you to keep moving forward. The best is yet to come.